All right, let's dive into something pretty cool today. Getting you ready for a leather measuring operator interview.
Interesting choice.
Right. I mean, think about it. These are the folks who make sure that those luxury car seats or that buttery soft jacket fits like a dream. It's a
Mhm.
blend of, like, real craftsmanship and serious attention to detail.
It's true. It's not just about taking measurements. It's this fascinating mix of knowing the materials, understanding how leather behaves, and then using some pretty high-tech tools to get it just right.
And that's where things got really interesting when I was looking at RoleCatcher. They had these career guides. And let me tell you, the ins and outs of this job, wow.
Oh, yeah. What kind of stuff surprised you?
Honestly, the precision involved, I mean, we're talking tiny, tiny measurements that can make or break an entire batch of leather goods. And those inconsistencies, they can cost a company serious money.
Absolutely. And that's what those interview questions are all about, figuring out if you have the skills, but also the mindset to handle that pressure.
Okay, so let's imagine you're in the hot seat, right? First question. Tell me about your experience with measuring leather. Now, what if you've never actually done that professionally?
That's where you've got to get creative. Think about any time you've worked with measurements. Maybe you were a carpenter or even, someone who sews a lot. It's all about those transferable skills.
So even if it wasn't leather, if you were measuring fabric for a dress or, like you said, cutting wood, that counts.
Exactly. It's about showing you understand the core concept. Talk about those times when you had to be super accurate. Maybe you double checked your work or had to troubleshoot a measuring tool that seemed a little off.
Okay, I'm starting to see how, like, seemingly unrelated jobs can actually be really valuable here. So you nailed that first question. What's next?
Be ready for how do you ensure accuracy in your measurements? Now, this one seems simple, but
It's got to be a trap, right? Everyone says they're careful.
exactly. They want to hear about your system, your process, not just hoping for the best. Remember, a tiny error can throw off like an entire production line.
Okay, so how do I actually demonstrate that meticulous mindset? What does a system even look like in this job?
Imagine yourself on the job, right? You might say, first thing, I always double check the measuring machine is calibrated. Like, I'd keep a logbook to track it.
A logbook? Okay, now that's detail-oriented. I like it.
Right. And you keep going. Maybe add, and I take multiple measurements, turning the leather, because sometimes the shape or texture can vary.
So you're not just relying on the tech, you're really thinking about potential problems before they happen. That's got to be impressive.
Exactly. And sprinkle in some leather knowledge. You could mention how, like, the tanning process can actually make the leather stretch differently, so you adjust your technique.
Ooh, insider info. That's how you stand out.
Mm.
Great. Hit me with another question. I'm ready.
All right, let's say they throw you a curveball. Describe a time you had to deal with a difficult measuring situation and how you solved it.
Classic. They want to see us in action, not just talk the talk, right?
Right. And it doesn't even have to be about leather specifically. The key is it shows problem solving, thinking on your feet.
Okay, give us an example. Help us out here.
Let's say you used to work in retail and had to measure fabric. A customer wants a specific length, but you don't have one big piece. You tell that story how you carefully measured and pieced together smaller bits so you still get the right length without wasting material.
So you're showing you're resourceful and still detail-oriented and that you care about getting it right for the customer. Those are all good things.
See, it's like painting a picture, showing them what you do, not just what you know in W. This is why I love these deep dives. You walk in feeling way more prepared.
Okay, bring on question number 4. I'm feeling good.
Here we go. What's the most important aspect of measuring leather?
Ooh, see, this is what I mean. Sounds easy, but
It's a trap. You could say accuracy and you'd be right, but it's too simple. This is where you show you get the bigger picture.
okay, so what else do we say?
Think about the end product. Is this leather for a car seat? A handbag? Each one has different needs, right? Durability, softness, how it holds its shape. You got to show you're thinking about that stuff, not just the numbers.
That's so smart. So it's like I'm not just measuring, I'm thinking about who's going to use this and how the leather itself matters.
Exactly. Research the company, too. If they make, say, high-end belts, mention that. You know what they say? Tailor your answers just like you would your resume.
Speaking of, I got to ask,
Hmm.
how much time should someone spend practicing with RoleCatcher versus, just doing it the old-fashioned way?
That's a good question. It really depends, right? Some people, bullet points work best. Others, they got to dive right into practice rounds. With RoleCatcher, the cool part is you record yourself answering and the AI gives you feedback.
Wait, really? Like it analyzes how I'm talking, not just what I'm saying.
Yep. Tone, pacing, all that. It's like having a coach saying, hey, you sound unsure there. Try this.
Okay, that's wild. You can't get that from a mirror. All right, back to the questions. What else did you find?
This one gets tough. Ready? How do you handle it when you get different measurements or something seems off?
Okay, anyone can make a mistake, right? But they want to know what you do about it.
Exactly. This is where a step-by-step process is key. Like, first, I double-check everything myself. Then I'd recalibrate the tool, and if it's still off, that's when I'd bring it to my supervisor. Clear steps, see?
So it's like showing I can solve problems on my own, but also know when to get help, and that I care about getting it right.
And here's the bonus round. Add that you use those mistakes to learn. Like, if it keeps happening, I analyze why, so I can avoid it next time. Shows you're always improving.
Now we're talking. That's the kind of person I'd hire. Okay, give me another one.
Let's see, this one's about organization, they might ask. How do you prioritize tasks when you have multiple orders?
Ah, the juggling act. I'm guessing I just do it all isn't going to cut it.
Nope. They want organized, efficient. This is a fast-paced job. Deadlines matter.
Okay, so how do we answer that like a pro?
You'd say, first, I check all the order details, deadlines, quantities, any special requests. See, you're already showing you're not just jumping in randomly.
But what about those special requests? How do those fit in?
Good point. You could add anything urgent, or if an order needs a specific tool or a higher level of precision, those get bumped up the list.
It's like you're a leather measuring operator, ain't a project manager, keeping everything running smoothly.
Right. And remember those career guides we talked about? How different leathers need different approaches?
Oh, yeah. Like some are more delicate, so you got to take more time with them.
Exactly. You slip that in. Like, I know some leathers, maybe for delicate clothes, take longer to measure, so I factor that into my priorities too. Boom.
Okay, that's gold. I'm starting to feel like I could actually do this job now. Should we keep going with these questions?
You bet. Let's keep this interview prep train rolling. All right, next up. Tell us about time you had to communicate a measurement issue, maybe to a supervisor or even a customer.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Nobody likes delivering bad news, especially if it involves a mistake.
It's all about how you handle it, right? They want to know you can communicate clearly, be professional, and focus on solutions.
So not just admitting the mistake, but showing I can take action to fix it.
Exactly. Let's say you're working on a project and you spot a measurement discrepancy that could affect the final product. What do you do?
Well, first, I'd triple check my own work, right? Make sure I didn't miss something obvious.
Absolutely. Once you've ruled that out, then you loop in your supervisor.
Okay, so how do I approach that conversation without panicking?
Keep it calm, keep it professional. You could say something like, hey, I found a discrepancy in the measurements for project name. I've double-checked everything on my end, but I wanted to bring it to your attention so we can figure out the best way to move forward.
Okay, so clear, direct, and solution-oriented. I like it.
And if you can, add a positive outcome from a past experience. Did your communication prevent a bigger problem? Did it lead to a better process? Those details make your answer even stronger.
Turning a negative into a positive, a classic interview strategy. All right, what else do we have?
All right, let's talk tools. How do you maintain the accuracy of your measuring tools and equipment?
Okay, this might seem basic, but it's so important. It shows you understand that those tools are crucial for doing the job right.
It's like a chef taking care of their knives. Right. You don't just use them, you maintain them. So what specifics would impress an interviewer?
Well, we did talk about those RoleCatcher career guides. Didn't they mention that some companies are using laser measuring systems now? That's pretty high tech.
Exactly. You could say, I understand that company name uses laser measuring technology. In a previous role, I was responsible for calibrating and maintaining similar systems. Regular cleaning, lens care, software updates, all crucial for accuracy.
Wow, now you're showing them you've done your homework, and you have experience with their specific equipment. That's a winning combo.
Right. Even if you haven't used their exact tools, you can still highlight your commitment to maintenance. Talk about following manufacturer guidelines, keeping records, that kind of thing.
Attention to detail, always a good thing to emphasize. Okay, hit me with question number 8.
This one focuses on training. They might ask, tell me about a time you had to train someone new on measuring leather.
Training. It's not just about showing someone the ropes, it's about patience, clear communication, being a good teacher.
Exactly. They're looking for leadership qualities, even if it's an entry-level position. So think about any time you've had to explain a process or teach a skill, even outside of work.
So it doesn't have to be about leather specifically.
Not at all. Maybe you taught a friend how to use a new app, or maybe helped a younger sibling with a recipe. What matters are the core teaching skills.
I get it. It's about drawing those parallels. Okay, give me an example of how to tailor something like that to this question.
Imagine you're teaching someone to bake a cake. You could say, I started by explaining how important accuracy is, how even a small mistake with the ingredients can ruin the cake. Then I showed them each step, making sure they were using the tools correctly and measuring precisely.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about those foundational skills. Accuracy, patience, clear communication. It all connects back to the job.
You got it. All right, ready for question number 9?
Bring it on. I'm feeling much more prepared now.
Okay, this one's a little tricky. How do you stay up to date with the latest industry trends and measuring techniques?
So it's not enough to just know how to do the job today. You got to show you're in it to win it. Always learning.
Exactly. They want to see that you're curious, proactive, engaged with the industry. So think about your own learning habits. Do you read industry magazines or listen to podcasts? Ever taken a webinar or online course?
Those are great examples, but what if you're new to the field and haven't had a chance to do all that yet?
That's okay. You can still show your eagerness to learn. You could say, I'm really excited to dive into the leather industry. I've already started researching organizations like the Leather Industries of America, and I'm looking forward to exploring their resources.
Showing initiative. Nice. And you've even done your research on relevant groups. Smart move.
And don't underestimate the importance of general tech advancements. Mention your interest in new laser cutting technologies or industry events.
So you're thinking about the future of the industry, not just the present. All right, last question, bring it home.
Here it is. Tell us about your experience using different types of measuring equipment or software in a manufacturing environment.
Okay, so they're really trying to gauge those technical skills now. Time to show them what you've got.
Exactly. This is your time to shine if you have experience with any industry standard software or equipment.
But what if you haven't worked with leather-specific tools before?
No problem. Focus on those transferable skills. Have you ever had to learn a new software program quickly or troubleshoot a technical issue with a machine? Those all count.
It's about those core abilities being adaptable, a problem solver, tech savvy. Give me an example that really showcases that.
Okay, imagine you used a digital caliper in a previous manufacturing job. You could say, in my previous role, I was responsible for using a digital caliper to take precise measurements for machine parts. I became really good at calibrating and using it, and even taught myself a new software program to streamline our data entry process.
That's a great example. You're not just listing skills, you're showing how you use them to solve problems and be more efficient.
Exactly. And if you do have experience with any software used in the leather industry, now's the time to mention it. Even a little bit of familiarity can give you an edge.
This has been so helpful. We've really broken down each question and come up with some great answers.
Right.
But you know what? We've been so focused on the content, we haven't even talked about how RoleCatcher can help us fine-tune our delivery and presence.
You're right. Let's talk about how RoleCatcher takes your interview game to a whole new level beyond just knowing what to say.
So we spent all this time on what to say, but how you say it matters too, right? Like your body language, even just your tone of voice, especially on video interviews.
Huge. And it's tricky because we're not all like natural-born presenters, but that's where RoleCatcher's AI stuff really blew me away.
Okay, yeah, we skimmed over that earlier. So how does it actually work for, like, interview practice?
Picture this. You've done a practice round, answered some tough questions, you hit submit, and RoleCatcher analyzes it all.
It analyzes it, like
Yeah.
just the words?
Words, tone, pacing, even facial expressions if you're on video. It's wild.
Hold on. It can tell if I'm, like, fidgeting or my voice gets all high-pitched when I'm nervous. Seriously.
It's that good. But the best part, it doesn't just point it out, it tells you how to fix it.
So not just you seem nervous, but actual advice.
Exactly. Like, take a deep breath before answering, or look at the camera, not the screen, stuff like that. It's like a coach.
That's kind of amazing, especially for this kind of job where details matter so much. Coming across well is huge.
For sure. And it's not about hiding who you are, it's making sure your passion for the work shows through. It even flags if your language is too formal or casual.
Okay, RoleCatcher is, like, the ultimate wingman here, I'm convinced. But does that mean, like, regular prep doesn't matter anymore?
Not at all. It's about using everything you've got. AI is amazing, but it works best when you've done the research, the thinking, you know?
So it's like RoleCatcher is the boost, but I still got to show up prepared.
Exactly. You bring the knowledge, the passion. RoleCatcher just helps you present it perfectly.
Love that. Okay, one last thing I got to know.
Yeah.
We've talked about nailing the interview, but then what? What's the career path like for a leather measuring operator? Where can you go from there?
Great question. Shows you're thinking long term. RoleCatcher actually had some cool insights on this.
Oh, yeah.
So you might start entry level, right? Learning the basics, getting good with the tools. Then you move up, maybe junior operator, doing more quality control, even training new hires.
Okay, so you're building skills and some leadership stuff too. That's cool.
And then it opens up. Maybe you specialize in a certain type of leather, become the expert everyone goes to, or you go the management route, overseeing a whole team.
So there's room to grow, to really make it a career, not just a job. I like it.
Plus, all those skills we talked about. Problem solving, being adaptable, that's valuable anywhere. You can move into quality assurance, even product development if you've got the knack for it.
This whole deep dive has been amazing. We've covered so much ground. I actually feel ready to go on a job hunt now.
That's the goal. Remember, preparation is everything. Use all the tools you've got. Let your passion show. You got this.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Big thanks to RoleCatcher for the insights, and to you, our amazing listeners, for tuning in.
Until next time, go get 'em.